We have big news for Tesla stock. I'm surprised Tesla is not up in the neighborhood of 4 to 5% based on this news alone. Sawyer Merritt writes, big news. The Biden administration is discussing granting automakers a temporary reprieve from new rules poised to limit a consumer tax credit for EVs that contain certain materials from foreign adversaries. Administration officials have discussed phasing in enforcement for the rules, which would disqualify automobiles that use battery parts or minerals from China and other foreign adversaries from the full $7,500 incentive. A temporary reprieve would have huge positive implications for EV makers, especially Tesla, as they expect the EV tax credit for LFP-based models to be cut to $3,750 on January 1st. So basically, the government is saying, hey, we might just put no rules on your battery materials, at least where the source of them is coming from, until further notice. So instead of half the tax credit, you'll get the full tax credit. That is essentially a $3,750 additional incentive to buy a Tesla or another EV. That's going to be big news, a big help to consumers. Let's be honest. Starting on January 1st, if this does go into effect, and I expect this will have a positive impact on Tesla stock, but maybe it's not finalized yet, so we're not getting that reaction just yet in Tesla stock. But do not be confused. This is big news for Tesla stock investors. I look at it as one of those things we now know is likely coming that Wall Street hasn't priced in yet. When the government actually does make it so Tesla and other EVs can get this full $7,500 tax credit instead of dropping it in half, I think Wall Street's going to wake up one day and say, wow, that's great news. And the stock's going to be at 5%. Good news is you already knew about it because you watched this channel. So add another catalyst to the list. And it looks like Tesla gave Marquise Brownlee a Cybertruck to film in, basically do a review on before the actual event tomorrow. I'm sure the video will probably come out tomorrow, if not on Friday. If you don't know who Marquise Brownlee is, he basically does tech reviews on anything tech, right? Cars, the new iPhone, VR glasses, anything that has to do with tech, he covers it. Cameras, all that. So this is going to reach a lot of people that might not necessarily be in the Tesla demographic already. These are individuals that might not own a Tesla that are going to get exposed to the Cybertruck. That's going to be pretty spectacular. Now, Dylan Loomis commented, it says 265 miles of range displayed. Want to switch over to percentage real quick? Marquise Brownlee responds and says, I'll have all the numbers and precious details with this video. And here you can see what they're talking about is the percentage is, well, the mileage is listed right there. We want to know the percentage so we can see how many miles this thing has in total. Andrew Michael says, tell us everything with this little picture here. Marquise Brownlee says, let me edit something together real quick. So we might have a review on the Cybertruck maybe quicker than we expect. Tesla's main X account has the Cybertruck delivery event and the starting time of November 30th at 3 p.m. So that's tomorrow at 3 p.m. We should have something to react to before markets do close tomorrow. So that could get interesting with Tesla stock specifically. As you know, the big catalyst, in my opinion, is probably going to be the pricing for the Cybertruck. Considering all the Cybertrucks that are built are already going to be sold easily, the higher the price, likely the better for Tesla stock. Tesla has changed the loyalty benefits in North America for Model 3 and Model Y buyers. Tesla now gives you 10,000 credits instead of 3 months free of FSD capability. Tesla Malaysia is sending out invites for the first Model 3 deliveries in Malaysia tomorrow. Tesla did also put out a Cybertruck event press release that says during this event, Tesla will announce details about the Cybertruck. The event will be live streamed, and it's only going to be live streamed on X. Here's a pretty interesting chart that shows you what weekly insurance registration numbers should start to look like towards the end of this quarter. So we should start to see a ramp up, maybe a slight deceleration for the next 2 weeks or so, and then start to see quite a ramp up into the end of this year. We're hoping for another record quarter, and that's what it's looking like so far. Tesla needs to deliver about 480,000 vehicles at least to hit 1.8 million for the full year. Anything over that is obviously going to be beating the expectation. Taiwanese Tesla supplier Hota retools supply chain with first US factory. And take a look at this Cybertruck convoy. This is a sight. You have 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like 6 Cybertrucks in a convoy driving near Giga, Texas. Jeff Lutz on X post this video from CNBC. We're going to give it a listen. He says it's clear CNBC management have directed producers and on-air talent to ridicule and joke about the Cybertruck and not show the lines waiting to see it. I hope the Tesla team pays zero attention to the media, yet as history has proven, performs in a way that quiets the naysayers. So let's go ahead and listen to this clip, and it's pretty clear. It's almost like they're paid to say what you're about to hear.
Questions to ask. So Dan,
yeah,
what would you want to ask Elon Musk?
The kids call it the CT on the Twitter. Okay, that's the Cybertruck.
Oh, okay.
I think the Cybertruck is going to be the new Coke of EV launches. I think it's going to be the Apple Newton of EV launches. I think it might be the Edsel of EV launches. And I'm just saying, the kids on the Twitter are like talking about the CT like it's going to transform the story. This is going to be the thing for 2024. So I just don't think it's going to be that thing.
I mean, the manufacturing is going to be a beast, which he's talked about already on Twitter and in other venues. I mean, it's made out of stainless steel, which is much harder to shape and mold, apparently. Not that I have any experience personally with that, but versus regular commodity steel.
Yeah, DeLorean tried that, didn't work out well. This is what I would ask him. This time last year, you said that margins would contract, but you wouldn't get down to legacy automaker margins, and it somewhere between 17 and 18%. Are you concerned with all the price cuts that it's going to eat into your margins? And if so, what are we looking at? That would be my question.
Quick take on the charts, Carter.
Yeah, well, Tesla kind of goes in the pair of twos category as well. It's the same level it was essentially 3 years ago. A lot of volatility, but it's not really progressing. And then as to that truck, I think it's cool until one day you walk into the garage, you go, my God, that thing's ugly. You never drive it again.
What a bunch of fools. That is going to really come back and bite them in the ass, if I were to say so myself, when the success of the Cybertruck becomes apparent. I believe it could be the most successful, if not one of the most successful trucks ever launched. Now, trucks are a little specific, right? Not everywhere in the world drives a truck. India doesn't drive as many trucks as the US. The US drives the most trucks. That's the most popular vehicle, trucks and SUVs, large body vehicles. Europe, no. I mean, obviously there's some trucks, but most people don't drive big body vehicles. In Europe and China and India, this is a specific product for the US, but I think it will have that halo effect desire on the entire world. Sawyer Merritt points out the Cybertruck has an estimated 2.1 million reservations worth a potential of 150 billion in total revenue. If only 40% convert to orders, that's still over $50 billion. That would roughly be equivalent to about half of this year's total revenue numbers. So it is pretty sizable for a single model. GM said its new labor deals after a lengthy US strike will cost it $9.3 billion, even as it outlined $10 billion in share buybacks, a 33% dividend increase, and substantially lower spending at its robotaxi unit Cruise. GM is basically capitulating and saying, yeah, we don't even want to compete with Tesla anymore. We're not going to try to compete with Tesla anymore. We're going to reward shareholders now. We're going to be very near-term thinking, and we're not even going to focus on the longevity of our business. That's essentially what they're saying, because you have to invest to be able to compete, period. And GM just threw in the towel today. And I should say, as badly as I wanted Cruise to succeed, because if Cruise succeeds, it's going to be easier for Tesla to succeed, and there's a lot of market share available, right? Cruise and Tesla, they're not even going to compete for robotaxis in the grand scope of things. But Cruise is basically done at this point, which in the longer term is to Tesla's benefit still. Just that regulatory hurdle, actually getting Tesla's robotaxis approved, now might be a little bit more difficult if Cruise is having these issues. CEO Mary Mara suggests GM shares are undervalued. GM stock is down 18% since she became CEO 10 years ago. I mean, when markets are forward-looking and looking at EVs and they're sitting here saying, hey, GM's not even trying to compete with Tesla, is your stock really undervalued? I think that's relative, because I would say it's probably overvalued if you're not going to have a longevity to your business. Tesla Chan is sharing this image with us. He says, look at Model Y and Model 3 Highlands waiting for customers at the Foligno shopping center in Madrid, Spain. Tesla Malaysia has opened its Cyberjaya service center. Today, Cyberjaya has not only launched the Model 3 Highlands' first customer delivery, but also announced the opening of its first service center, located in a separate building on the same site in Purian, APEC. The 22,000 square foot center has 10 service bays. It can repair up to 80 vehicles a day. And here you can see the actual service center itself, where a lot of the repairs are likely to take place. As of November 2023, Tesla had the most chargers among its own charging brands in China. Fed Barkin today says rate hikes are still on the table if inflation doesn't continue to ease. He said he's not ready to commit to a particular policy path with so much uncertainty in the air. Barkin called the possibility of easing policy and cutting rates a forecasting question that he's not ready to answer. Atlanta Fed Raphael Bostic also offered commentary Wednesday, saying in an essay that he sees economic growth slowing substantially and believes inflation will come down further as well. So you're starting to get some Fed officials that are really not in alignment anymore. You might start to get some dissensions, and that pushes us closer to actually seeing that first rate cut. Right now, markets are undecided whether we're going to get the first rate cut in March or May. Technically, there is a 51.6% chance of a continued pause in March and a 45% chance of a rate cut in March. So it's neck and neck, but you are pricing in your first official rate cut May 1st with a 48.9% probability. And get this, there's actually a greater chance by May that you see 2 rate cuts than you see the Fed continue to hold through May. That's honestly crazy. A greater chance of 2 rate cuts by May than a continued pause until May. I mean, that's a good reason to be bullish on markets, in my personal opinion, as long as the economy holds up. And I would also add that this rate cut path ahead that we're about to go over, and we are going over right now, is not even considering if the economy does slow further. If the economy does slow further, then you're going to start to see more rate cuts than even this start to get priced into our markets. By December 18th, 2024, you are expecting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rate cuts as the highest probability of at 30.6%. And there is a 19.5% chance that you get 6 rate cuts, a 5.5% chance that you get 7 rate cuts by the end of 2024. Again, I would add, this is without the economy substantially weakening or without the forecast of a recession being the baseline forecast. If you get more weakening in the markets, rates they might not be 4% next year. They might be 3% or 2.5%, depending on the path of the economy and depending on inflation. That's ultra bullish for Tesla. So I'm pretty excited right now. The big data that we got this morning was GDP, the second estimate or revision for Q3 GDP. The first one came in at 4.9%. The markets were pretty excited about that because that was really high GDP. Well, now it came in again at 5.2%. This article says US GDP grew at 5.2% rate in the third quarter, even stronger than first indicated. But there is a little bit of good news, some would say bad news in this data. It says the acceleration topped the initial 4.9% reading. It was better than the 5% forecast by economists polled by Dow Jones. It says primarily the upward revision came as increases in non-residential fixed investment, which includes structures, equipment, and intellectual property. The category showed a rise of 1.3%, which still marked a sharp downward shift from previous quarters. Government spending also helped boost the Q3 estimate, rising 5.5% for the July through September period. However, consumer spending saw a downward revision, now rising just 3.6% compared with the 4% in the initial estimate. So spending was actually lower than we thought. That's good news for the Fed. That's good news for inflation, but these other factors made that up plus some and still caused your GDP number to go higher. I would say this is, again, one of those Goldilocks-like data reports that we got today. That's a big reason why interest rate sensitive stocks are doing well today. Take a look at the Russell 2000, up 1.08%. The NASDAQ is basically flat today. The Dow is up 0.36%. But your big winners are your interest rate sensitive stocks. I think that's where you want to be heading into 2024. Tesla, Fubo, SoFi, PayPal, other names like that. I think that's where you want to be. Specifically with Tesla, since Tesla is the highest quality out of those names, I think Tesla could get probably the most investor capital allocated to it in 2024, all things considered. Usually you want to buy a stock after it's seen its numbers and estimates go way down. Usually you want to buy the stock when estimates are low, because what's the one biggest single driver of a stock price? It's estimates going higher. So as we get more price increases, as we get rates going lower, as we get the Cybertruck, estimates should start to move higher for 2024. That's in contrast to the last 12 months. We've seen 41% declines for EPS estimates for 2024. Now we're in 2024. Tesla's raising prices in China. Estimates are probably going higher, which means Tesla's stock is probably going higher as well. Global inventory numbers are showing a little bit of an increase for the Model Y. The Model S, X, and the Model 3 are continuing to fall. So I'm a little bit curious why the Model Y's inventory numbers are so much higher. But overall, this probably says Tesla's selling all of the vehicles they are producing. Taking a look at Google Trends data, the Model 3's Google Trends search interest is ticking up a little bit, where your Model Y and your Cybertruck is actually falling a little bit. Now, the Cybertruck has been elevated. The delivery event is tomorrow. I expect you're going to see the entire Tesla lineup go buck wild coming tomorrow in your Google Trends data. We are going to get millions, potentially hundreds of millions of dollars worth of free advertisements from different various news agencies, local news, world news, things of that nature. Everyone's going to be talking about the Cybertruck. And I mean, that's why Tesla is where it is today, because word of mouth and free advertising. This is like free advertising on steroids, and those steroids on steroids. It's going to be insane. Tesla continues to run about 300 different ads globally. Again, a majority of which for the US, some for Europe, and some for Australia. Tesla's option activity today is remarkably strong. From hedge funds and institutions, you have seen 1,058 orders totaling $230.69 million with a positive order value of 79%. If you take a look at the entirety of the option activity, out of the total volume today being volume of 100%, 63.21% of that volume was calls, and 36.79% of that volume was puts. So there's a lot of activity in Tesla options expiring this Friday in the 240 to 260 range. The amount of shares sold short in Tesla also jumped about 8 million here recently. That means the dollar amount that's currently sold short also jumped big time from about $17 billion, now at $21.63 billion. Tesla is by far the most shorted stock on our markets, and it just continues to be more heavily shorted now than really ever before. And this just really makes you scratch your head. Before the Cybertruck delivery event, before 2024 when rates are going to be going lower, before the Highland really starts cranking out, to everyone that wants one. I want a Highland. I can't get one. Whenever they come to the US, I'll get one. Like, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be interested buying Teslas in 2024. The estimates have come down dramatically. Is this really the best time to be this short in Tesla? I would argue probably not. The percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average today is ticking higher to 67.41%. 10-year treasury yields continue to plummet today, down another 7 basis points to 4.265%. You're getting pretty close to 4%. If you break under 4%, that's where things get very exciting for our markets. We do still have some earnings today and after hours and throughout the rest of this week. Your most notable names would be Snowflake, Salesforce, Okta, Synopsys, Pure Storage, Five Below, Victoria's Secrets, PVH, Nutanix, and Lazy Boy. Tesla stock is down about 6 cents at the time of recording this video, so it's virtually unchanged. Now, it's going to be very interesting heading into tomorrow and how Tesla stock actually performs. I would just say, from my standpoint right now, the fact that Tesla is not ripping higher today is probably good. The fact that Tesla is not cratering today is probably good. You don't want to see a big move right before the event, because then you price in all of the event's good news. What you're seeing today is people kind of mixed in their reactions and pricing in what's going to happen tomorrow. This could set you up for that bigger upside move. Also note that Tesla is above its 50 and 100-day moving averages today. Tesla at one point hit $252.75. We'll have to wait and see. There's still some time throughout the rest of the day today to see what Tesla stock does. You want to close above 250 today, and at some point get above 250 tomorrow if you don't close above 250 today. That's where you get set up where, hey, if you get above 260 or 270, then it's almost a guarantee in my personal opinion. It's obviously not, but in my personal opinion, you probably go into the 300s. Price point that we have not been in since over a year, right? Since September of 2022 was the last time we were over $300 per share. I think that is coming very soon. Tesla's RSI is at 60.63. That suggests to me you can still see quite a large upside move before you're on the technical overbought side, even though you are hitting a new high that you have not seen since about October. So you're hitting almost a 2-month high, but you're still not even really close to being overbought on any of your technical indicators. Your MACD and your blue signal line are now positive today. Your MACD line at 3.55, your signal line at 0.67 also supports the stock probably is going higher here. TLT is up 1.27%. This is great news for your banks because this means your unrealized losses are a little bit smaller. This also could help fuel more of this momentum to the upside, thus drive down even further your 10-year, 20, and 30-year treasury yields. That's good for anything finance related, whether it's autos, whether it's mortgages, whether it's home equity lines of credit, HELOCs, or really anything that has to do with financing. Great news to see TLT higher today. USO is up about 2%. There are rumors that there could be another 1 million barrels of oil being cut as per the OPEC meeting tomorrow. That's just a rumor right now. You're probably seeing oil already pricing that in, so I wouldn't expect that much of a huge reaction. Maybe another 2% or so reaction to oil tomorrow, if that's what happens. But oil is coming. I mean, it's been falling for a while now, so I don't think that's a big story at all. The dollar's pretty flat on the day today. Overall, looks like it wants to trend lower. That continues to be good news. Gold, though, gosh, guys, I got to be honest with you guys. Gold is starting to freak me out a little bit here. Take a look at your banking crisis gold levels. I mean, this was gold during the banking crisis back in March and April of 2023. You're almost higher than your banking crisis levels for gold. Gold is a safe haven asset. You would think with everything going on right now, gold would actually be falling. The ceasefire in the Middle East, you really don't have, I mean, the economy's doing fine as per some of the data we've seen. I don't know why gold is continuing to go higher, but it's not a good sign that it is. Something potentially could be breaking under the surface. Big money reacts to things before we do. They just know things before anyone else. So gold's one of those things where it could be telling you something, but we just don't know what yet. Watch this one very carefully. So that is going to do it for this video. We are going to be going over a lot in the next video coming out at 9 p.m. today. The Cybertruck launches tomorrow, guys. You got to be excited here. This is 4 years in the making. Kind of insane to think back to when Elon threw the glass rock at the window and the windshield, and it cracked. Look at where we are now. Kind of a surreal moment nonetheless. But we're going to go over all of my expectations for the Cybertruck delivery event tomorrow. What I think is going to be important. What I think is going to move Tesla stock. Where I think Tesla stock is going to go following this Cybertruck delivery event. And much more. We have analyst commentary. We're going to hear from Dan Ives in that video coming up later tonight as well. Hey, come here. Are you excited for the Cybertruck?
Cybertruck.
Say Tesla to the moon.
To the moon.
What's your name?
Look at me. And bear.
Okay, well, nonetheless, guys, that's going to go ahead and do it for this video. Stay tuned to the channel for that video coming out at 9 p.m. tonight. If you guys want to come trade with us live in real time, every time I make a trade, every time I have something to say, or you guys want to come commentate and talk with us, link down below in the description of this video. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you guys made it to the end of this video. Why not? It's free 99. It costs you absolutely nothing to do it. Free 99. There's not too much things in life that are free. You can't even breathe these days for free 99, but you can hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. My name is Michael Tyler, and I will see you in the next one.